Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on, well, an essential exploration of a truly pivotal development in the world of quality management.
Yeah, it's a big one.
We're dissecting the upcoming ISO 9001.2026 draft update, specifically the recent release of its Draft International Standard, or DIS.
That's right, the DIS.
For those of you who've been meticulously tracking the evolution of global quality standards, the DIS represents a critical juncture, signaling the concrete direction of what's next.
It really does. Gives us the clearest picture yet.
So our mission today is to extract the most impactful nuggets of knowledge and insight from this significant document. We want to give you a comprehensive shortcut to understanding how your quality management system, that structured framework you use day in, day out, to ensure consistent quality and meet customer requirements is about to evolve.
And it is evolving. Significantly.
Exactly. This isn't just a minor revision. Experts are hinting at a new era for quality, bringing fresh perspectives on fundamental concepts like quality, risk, opportunity, and especially the very fabric of organizational culture.
That's a key point, the culture aspect.
It really is. It's poised to reshape how organizations approach excellence for years to come.
And that phrasing, a new era, it really resonates, doesn't it? It captures the depth of the proposed changes.
It does. It feels bigger.
Yeah, it suggests a foundational recalibration, moving beyond mere procedural updates to something more integrated, strategic, and crucially ethically driven.
Ethically driven. Interesting.
We're looking at a standard that aims to embed quality into the very DNA of an organization. So not just managing processes, but anticipating future challenges and opportunities, and critically, expanding its scope to include broader global responsibilities.
Global responsibilities.
Right, for anyone involved in quality management, whether you're a strategic leader or, right there on the front lines, understanding these nuances now is absolutely vital.
Okay, let's unpack this then. For those of us tracking the ISO revision timeline, the release of the DIS for ISO 9701.2026 is, well, it's a significant milestone. But what does its specific content, rather than just its existence, tell us about the final direction? And what are the strategic implications for organizations at this stage?
Right, that's a crucial distinction. The Draft International Standard isn't just some preliminary concept document. It's a highly refined blueprint that's already undergone extensive internal development and expert review within ISO.
So it's pretty solid already.
Very solid. It represents the point where the core changes and the fundamental direction for defining quality management systems are largely solidified. Now, yes, there's still a comment period.
Of course.
But the DIS gives us a very, very clear picture of what the final standard will likely look like. The strategic implication here is profound. It offers organizations a robust, early look at the expected requirements.
So no excuses for being caught off guard later.
Exactly. This isn't a time for casual observation. It's really a window for serious preemptive assessment and planning. Organizations can now move beyond just speculating to doing concrete gap analysis and developing strategies.
Getting ahead of the curve.
Precisely. Positioning themselves for a smoother, much more effective transition when the final standard is published.
And the source material really drives this home, using that phrase, a new era of quality management. That sounds like more than just a simple update, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
What does that imply beyond just revised clauses and, I guess, why now? What's driving this new era?
It absolutely implies a broader shift, almost tectonic in scale. The new era suggests moving beyond incremental adjustments to a fundamental recalibration of what a QMS truly means in today's world.
Which is definitely more complex.
Incredibly complex, interconnected, and frankly under more scrutiny than ever before. It's about that fresh perspective, as the source puts it, on core elements like quality itself, risk, opportunity, and a redefined quality culture.
Culture again.
Yes. Previously, these might have been treated somewhat distinctly, maybe even in silos within an organization.
Yeah, you see that a lot.
But the update increasingly interconnects them. It reflects a more holistic view of organizational excellence. And the true brilliance, I think, of this new era isn't just about connecting the dots. It's about forcing organizations to confront the hidden costs of disconnected thinking.
What do you mean by that? Hidden costs?
Well, think about ethical blind spots or overlooked climate risks. Things previously may be considered outside the direct scope of the QMS. Now, these could legally and reputationally derail even products that perfectly conform to specification on paper.
Ah, I see. So the external context is becoming internalized in the standard.
Exactly. Consider the socioeconomic drivers increasing stakeholder pressure for corporate social responsibility, the sheer complexity of global supply chains, the speed of digital transformation, and, of course, the undeniable impact of climate change. These external pressures are pushing quality management to evolve beyond just internal process control.
So quality isn't just about meeting specifications anymore. It's much broader. It's about this whole ecosystem of responsibility and foresight.
Precisely. This holistic view recognizes that an organization's ability to consistently provide quality products and services is just inextricably linked to how it manages its internal culture,
Right.
how it identifies and capitalizes on strategic opportunities, and how it proactively addresses both traditional and emerging risks. And that includes those far beyond its immediate operational boundaries, like those climate impacts we mentioned.
So it's a shift from being reactive, maybe compliance focused,
Yes.
to being proactive, integrated, and really strategically driven, building genuine resilience and competitive advantage.
You've got it. And for you, the listener, this early insight into the DIS is just invaluable. Whether you're already prepping for future compliance or you're looking for that strategic advantage in a rapidly changing market,
We're just curious.
or just deeply curious about how these global standards evolve. Understanding these shifts now allows for deliberate, well-considered planning rather than that last-minute scramble. It's about being ahead of the curve, truly translating compliance into a strategic enabler for long-term success.
That sets the stage beautifully. Now here's where we really need to drill down into the specifics. The draft outlines several truly significant changes, and we're going to break them down one by one, giving you a comprehensive understanding of each.
Let's do it.
Let's start with what many are calling the first pillar of change. It focuses on leadership.
Always critical.
Our source tells us that under Clause 5.1, there is an explicit new requirement. Top management is now explicitly required to promote a quality culture and ethical behavior. Now, this sounds like a significant elevation of leadership's role, moving beyond just oversight.
It is, and it's an absolutely critical change. This isn't just about adding a line to some policy document that, gathers dust on a shelf.
We've all seen those.
Right. The draft provides new guidance on how these can be demonstrated. And that distinction between stating intent and actually demonstrating it, that's the real game changer here.
Okay, so how does that look in practice? What does demonstrating mean?
Well, it shifts the emphasis from passive endorsement, where leaders might just sign off on a quality manual once a year, to active, observable actions and behaviors, things that permeate the entire organization daily.
Like what, for example?
Okay, so demonstrating a quality culture might involve leaders consistently communicating the value of quality in all their internal messaging. It means allocating sufficient resources for quality initiatives, even when budgets are tight.
That's a tough one sometimes.
It is, but it shows commitment. It means visibly recognizing and rewarding quality achievements at all levels, and actively participating in reviews of QMS performance, not just receiving reports passively.
Being truly engaged.
And ethical behavior. That means setting a clear, unwavering tone at the top, integrating ethical decision-making into performance metrics, providing safe, anonymous channels for reporting ethical concerns, and consistently upholding accountability when ethical lapses occur, regardless of someone's position.
No exceptions.
Exactly. It's about making integrity a non-negotiable part of every single decision.
So it really is about walking the talk, essentially. Not just talking about quality and ethics from some ivory tower, but actively living it, championing it, being visible role models.
Precisely. This shift underscores the critical importance of leadership buy-in for a truly successful QMS. Without that active, visible leadership, a QMS can quickly become just a bureaucratic exercise.
Just ticking boxes for the certificate.
Right, something done merely for certification rather than as a core business driver. But when leaders visibly champion quality and ethics, it sends such a powerful message throughout the organization. It transforms the QMS from a peripheral task into a foundational element of how the organization operates daily.
Making it core business.
It ensures quality gets integrated into strategic decision-making, into resource allocation, performance evaluations. It makes it an undeniable priority, not an afterthought. Imagine a CEO who regularly reviews customer feedback personally.
That would send a message.
Or a senior manager who halts a project to address a quality concern and openly discusses that decision and its implications with the team. Those actions cement a culture far more effectively than any top-down directive ever could.
So for leaders within organizations, what are the practical implications here? How does this truly elevate their role in maintaining quality beyond what was expected before, and what new challenges might they face?
Well, practically, it means leaders can no longer just delegate the culture of quality and ethics entirely to a quality department, or maybe HR.
They own it.
They become the primary architects and custodians of that culture. It elevates their role from simply ensuring compliance to actively shaping the organizational environment where quality naturally thrives.
So maybe changes to training?
Absolutely. This could involve revised leadership training programs focusing on behavioral ethics and cultural leadership, more direct, active involvement in quality review meetings, explicit quality and ethical objectives tied directly to leadership performance,
Accountability.
and a visible presence in employee engagement initiatives related to these areas. The challenge? Well, it lies in translating these directives into authentic, consistent actions across all levels of management.
Consistency is key.
And navigating those potential conflicts between short-term financial pressures and long-term quality and ethical imperatives, that's never easy. It means leaders are now seen not just as managing the business, but nurturing its values, often under heightened scrutiny.
Okay, that's a very clear picture on leadership. Now, building on that, another significant area of evolution we see is how Clause 6.1 is refining the approach to risk and opportunity management.
Yes, Clause 6.1.
The source mentions a clearer separation of risk and opportunity management. Now, these have often been linked, sometimes treated almost as one thing. So what does this new approach entail, especially with the introduction of new subclauses 6.1.1, 6.1.1.3, and expanded guidance?
Right. While risk and opportunity are undeniably two sides of the same strategic coin, this explicit separation in the new subclauses is highly significant. Historically, organizations tended to lump them together, often with a heavier, sometimes almost singular emphasis on mitigating risks. What could go wrong?
The defensive posture.
Exactly. This change encourages dedicated, distinct strategies for both. Proactive risk management, as we know, is foundational. Identifying potential threats, assessing likelihood and impact, implementing controls.
Standard stuff, but important.
Very important. But the heightened emphasis now on strategic capitalization on opportunities for growth, that's the truly notable evolution here. It signals a shift in quality management away from being purely defensive,
Avoiding problem.
right, avoiding problems, towards one that also actively seeks and leverages avenues for innovation, market expansion, efficiency gains, competitive advantage. It's about proactively engineering success, not just safeguarding against failure.
So the new framework essentially demands a dual-lens approach.
Wow.
Proactive defense against threats, but also deliberate cultivation of strategic advantages.
Precisely. This separation forces organizations to develop robust processes for identifying opportunities, evaluating their potential value, and then developing actionable strategies to pursue them, all within the framework of their QMS.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Risk management might involve identifying a potential supply chain disruption because you rely on a single-source supplier. Classic risk.
Okay.
Opportunity management, on the other hand, might involve recognizing an emerging market need that aligns perfectly with your organization's unique capabilities, or maybe leveraging a new disruptive technology that could revolutionize the production process and open up entirely new markets.
So proactive searching for the upside.
Exactly. This dual focus ensures a more balanced, dynamic, and forward-looking strategic perspective. It has the potential to transform the QMS from what some see as a compliance cost center into a genuine strategic growth engine.
That's a powerful point. So what does this all mean for how organizations might need to refine their current planning processes to reflect this dual focus? And how might this challenge or maybe change the role of quality professionals?
It means the planning processes within the QMS will need to be much more explicit and structured in how they address both risks and opportunities. Organizations will likely need to refine their risk assessment methodologies to truly separate them from opportunity identification.
So maybe different tools or techniques?
Could be distinct workshops, maybe brainstorming sessions, specifically geared towards identifying opportunities, not just mitigating risks, analytical tools tailored for each. But the deeper insight here, I think, is that quality professionals are now being tasked not just with safeguarding against failure, but actively engineering success through opportunity.
That's a big shift in mindset.
It requires a different skill set, doesn't it? Less about just auditing compliance and maybe more about strategic foresight, market intelligence, innovation facilitation.
So quality professionals could become key players in identifying market opportunities.
Absolutely. Or technological advancements, partnership possibilities that align with the organization's quality objectives. This integrated approach can drive more dynamic and resilient business models. It requires a shift in mindset, definitely, and perhaps even new training for quality teams to embrace this broader strategic mandate.
Fascinating. Okay, pillar 3. Now, this one feels truly groundbreaking. The integration of climate change considerations into clauses 4.1 and 4.2.
Yes, this has generated a lot of discussion.
I bet. Our source states that organizations will be required to consider the impact of climate change on their operations. This seems like a massive expansion of scope for a QMS. I mean, we're talking about a quality standard, ISO 9001, not an environmental one like 14001, right?
Exactly. And what's truly fascinating here is precisely that. It is a significant expansion, and it really underscores this evolving understanding of what impacts an organization's ability to consistently deliver quality.
So why? Why is ISO 9001 mandating this now?
Because the effects of climate change are no longer abstract external factors you can ignore. They directly influence an organization's operational context, its supply chains, its market, and therefore its ability to achieve its quality objectives.
Can you elaborate on that link? How does climate impact quality delivery?
Think about it. Climate impacts like extreme weather events, floods, droughts, severe storms, they can disrupt global supply chains, affecting raw material availability or transportation.
We've seen plenty of that lately.
Absolutely. Resource scarcity, like water or specific minerals, can impact manufacturing processes. Then you have evolving regulations related to carbon emissions, waste management, sustainable sourcing. These can introduce new compliance costs or require significant changes in product design and operations.
And customer expectations are changing too.
Definitely. Shifting consumer preferences towards more sustainable products and services can affect market demand and brand reputation. All of these directly impinge on an organization's ability to consistently deliver quality products and services reliably day after day.
So it sounds like we're moving from, managing customer expectations to almost managing the climate, which is certainly an expanded job description for many quality professionals.
Well, maybe not managing the whole climate, but yes, it's acknowledging the connection. It's not just about being environmentally friendly for its own sake, which is obviously important,
Right.
but because climate impacts can directly compromise quality, operational continuity, and ultimately an organization's ability to meet customer needs.
That makes sense when you frame it like that.
The standard acknowledges the critical role businesses play in mitigating the effects of climate change. Sure. But it frames this within the context of quality management. It's about recognizing that climate risks are business risks.
Yeah, and opportunities too.
And climate-related opportunities like developing greener products, implementing more energy-efficient processes, or building more resilient, maybe localized supply chains, these can be powerful competitive advantages.
So how might this manifest in practice in operational planning?
It could mean requiring organizations to formally assess the vulnerability of their facilities to specific climate events, or integrating energy efficiency targets and waste reduction strategies into production processes as part of quality control. It could impact raw material sourcing, prioritizing suppliers with strong environmental performance, or adopting circular economy principles.
So for you, the listener listening right now,
For your organization, this might mean conducting a specific climate risk assessment for your key production sites, mapping your supply chain specifically for climate vulnerabilities, assessing the carbon footprint of your core operations, or exploring how new sustainable technologies could enhance your product or service quality and market appeal.
so how might you begin to evaluate and integrate these climate change impacts into your operational context in QMS? This isn't something many traditional quality managers might have deep experience in. It feels like potentially a big undertaking.
It certainly isn't a traditional QMS element for many, which is precisely why it's so significant and why it needs proactive thinking. Organizations need to start by identifying and assessing climate-related risks and opportunities that are relevant to their specific context.
Specific context, what does that mean here?
It means looking at risks and opportunities related directly to your industry, your supply chain, your geographical locations, your customer base. It's not one size fits all.
Okay.
This could involve formal environmental impact assessments, maybe supply chain climate risk analyses, or even engaging directly with stakeholders, customers, investors, communities to understand their climate-related concerns.
And then integrate those findings.
Yes. The insights gained from these assessments then need to be integrated into the QMS planning processes. They should influence objectives, operational controls, emergency preparedness plans, even topics for management review discussions. It's about building climate consciousness into the day-to-day decisions that affect quality, making it an integral part of strategic resilience planning.
Okay, a big shift. Let's move to the fourth pillar. A new emphasis on awareness in Clause 7.3.
Clause 7.3, yeah.
We have a new requirement here regarding awareness, stating that personnel must now be sensitized to quality culture and ethical behavior. Now, this sounds like it goes deeper than just general training on procedures or a quick policy review.
Oh, absolutely. If we connect this back to the bigger picture, especially the leadership focus, this specific focus on awareness is profoundly important. It moves beyond simple procedural training or, compliance checklists.
How so?
It's about embedding a deeper understanding and appreciation for quality and ethics at every single level of the organization. It's not enough for an employee to simply know how to perform a task. They must also understand why that task, when performed with quality and ethical integrity, contributes to the overall success of the organization and ultimately the satisfaction of its customers.
Understanding the why.
Exactly. The source stresses the importance of employee awareness and engagement in maintaining quality, and this new clause really drives that home. The real insight here, I believe, is that a workforce that is truly sensitized becomes the organization's most powerful distributed network for risk detection and opportunity identification.
Interesting perspective, like eyes and ears everywhere.
Precisely. It ensures that quality isn't just a management directive or one department's responsibility, but a shared value, a collective consciousness throughout the entire workforce. It helps shift from that us versus them mentality you sometimes see towards a we're all quality champions ethos.
So it's about making quality personal for everyone, rather than something external that's just imposed upon them, fostering genuine internal commitment.
Exactly. When personnel are truly sensitized, they understand the ripple effects of their actions, however small they might seem. An individual on the production line understands how a small deviation affects the final customer experience, not just a batch number on a report.
Connecting their work to the end result.
Right. Or a customer service representative understands how upholding ethical behavior in a really challenging interaction builds trust and long-term loyalty far beyond just resolving the immediate issue. This deeper awareness fosters a sense of ownership and accountability.
Which should lead to improvements.
It should lead to more proactive identification of nonconformities, more innovative suggestions for improvement, and a stronger collective commitment to the organization's core values.
Yeah.
And this could lead to more innovative, more inclusive approaches to employee development.
How? What might that look like?
Imagine training programs that use real-world ethical dilemmas specific to employees' roles, maybe through interactive simulations, or workshops that illustrate the direct customer impact of quality decisions using actual case studies, not just abstract concepts.
Having it relatable.
Very relatable. Peer-led initiatives, maybe mentorship programs focused on quality, regular internal communications, highlighting success stories related to quality and ethical conduct. These could become commonplace. It fundamentally shifts the paradigm from mere instruction to genuine inspiration and empowerment.
That's a crucial distinction, and it makes me wonder, does this then necessitate new methods for measuring the health of that personal connection to quality, going beyond traditional KPIs?
That's a great question.
Think about the potential impact on training programs, onboarding, ongoing communication strategies for you and your teams listening. This really requires a rethink of how we educate and engage our workforce, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. This will require a significant rethinking for many organizations. Onboarding, for instance, might now include more explicit interactive modules on the organization's quality culture and ethical expectations right from day one, setting that foundational tone immediately.
Starting as you mean to go on.
Exactly. Ongoing training would likely need to move beyond just the how-to to the why it matters and maybe what-if scenarios. Perhaps utilizing gamification or scenario-based learning to make it more engaging and memorable.
Less passive listening.
Definitely. Communication strategies would need to be more engaging, more continuous. Celebrating quality achievements, openly addressing ethical challenges but in a learning-oriented way, providing platforms for employees to share their own insights and experiences. It's about nurturing an environment where employees feel empowered to make quality-driven and ethical decisions, not just follow rules.
Fostering that culture we talked about.
Ultimately fostering a much more robust and resilient quality culture for the future. And yes, to your earlier point, measuring this health might involve new approaches, new employee engagement surveys specifically targeting perceptions of quality culture and the ethical climate. Perhaps even incorporating feedback mechanisms on these aspects into performance reviews.
Quantifying the culture.
It's about trying to quantify the, well, sometimes unquantifiable, to ensure the spirit of the standard is being met, not just the letter.
Okay, we've covered the 4 pillars in quite some detail. Having looked at these individual significant changes, let's zoom out again and explore their collective impact. So what does this all mean for existing quality management systems? How will organizations need to systematically adjust their established processes, their documentation, maybe even their audit approaches?
Well, these aren't minor tweaks, as we've discussed. They represent a fundamental evolution that will require organizations to systematically review and adapt their current practices across the board.
Okay, break that down for us.
Firstly, you'll see, or rather need, enhanced leadership involvement. And that goes beyond just superficial additions to job descriptions. This demands deeper, demonstrable integration of leadership's role in actively driving the culture and ethics throughout the organization.
How might that change something like management review?
Good example. Management review agendas will likely need to include explicit discussions on the effectiveness of promoting quality culture and ethical behavior, backed by specific indicators and actions taken, rather than just reviewing the usual performance metrics.
Okay, what's next?
Secondly, there will be a need for those refined risk and opportunity management processes. Organizations will have to clearly delineate and act on both the defensive risk strategies and the proactive opportunity identification.
Meaning different processes.
Potentially separate methodologies, maybe dedicated resources, and definitely a more strategic outlook required for both. And this flows into auditing. Internal audit programs will need to be redesigned to assess not just how risks are mitigated, but also how opportunities are systematically identified, evaluated, and capitalized upon.
So new audit criteria, maybe new skills for auditors?
Quite possibly. New skills, or at least a broadened perspective for auditors.
Okay,
Thirdly, the integration of climate change considerations. This introduces that new mandatory layer of contextual analysis. It will directly affect strategic direction, operational planning. It requires organizations to assess climate-related risks and opportunities and build resilience into their operations and supply chains.
Big scope expansion.
It's a significant broadening, yes. Connecting quality to environmental responsibility in a very tangible way within ISO 9001. Documentation, for instance, for context of the organization, that's Clause 4.1, will need to explicitly address climate change impacts relevant to the organization's purpose. And risk assessments will have to factor in climate-related vulnerabilities and dependencies.
And finally,
we'll see those strengthened employee awareness programs. This moves beyond basic training to more pervasive, culturally embedded education on quality and ethical behavior, fostering that deeper, shared understanding among all personnel.
impacting training again.
It will impact training budgets, definitely the content of training materials, the methods used for communication and engagement, moving towards more interactive, scenario-based learning. You might even see cross-functional teams established to develop and implement these new awareness initiatives, requiring collaboration beyond traditional departmental silos.
It sounds like the core message from the source, that organizations will need to review and adapt their current practices to align with these revisions, is not just a suggestion, is it? It sounds like a fundamental necessity.
It really is.
This isn't an optional upgrade. It's an evolution requiring a QMS that's living, breathing, and highly responsive.
Precisely. It's an acknowledgement that for a QMS to remain relevant and effective in today's world, it must evolve with the global business landscape. The changes compel organizations to rethink their entire approach, not just update a few documents here and there.
A holistic review.
It demands a more integrated, strategic, and socially conscious quality management system. One where compliance becomes an outcome of deeply embedded values and proactive strategies rather than being the primary goal itself. It's a real opportunity, actually, to leverage the QMS as a framework for broader business improvement and sustainability beyond just product or service conformance.
Okay, that gives us a very clear picture of the scope of these changes and the ripple effects. Now, let's talk timing. Let's look at the timeline for all of this. What's next for the ISO 9001.20-6 draft, and what does a transition roadmap look like for organizations and for you specifically, the listener?
Right, the timeline. Currently, the draft is in a crucial phase. It's open for public comment and review. It's undergoing a specific 12-week ballot and comment period.
So people can still provide input?
Yes. This is where national standards bodies, industry experts, other key stakeholders worldwide provide their feedback. This feedback is then meticulously compiled and reviewed by the relevant ISO technical committee.
And that feedback is important.
Oh, critical. It helps refine the standard, address any ambiguities or maybe practical challenges identified in the draft before its final publication.
Yeah.
Following this period and any subsequent revisions based on the feedback, the final version of ISO 9001.2026 is anticipated to be published in September 2026.
September 2026. So we're still about a year out from the official release, but as you said, the direction is pretty firmly set by the DIS.
That's the general consensus, yes.
Now, once the standard is published, it doesn't mean immediate overnight changes are required, right? That would be chaos.
Exactly. That would be unrealistic and chaotic. Instead, there will be a 3-year transition window. This is expected to run from September 2026 until 2029, giving organizations time to migrate to the new standard.
3 years. That sounds like a decent amount of time.
It is, and the window is specifically designed to give organizations ample time to properly understand the new requirements, assess their current QMS against these changes, identify any gaps,
Plan the work.
plan the necessary adjustments, implement new processes, retrain staff where needed, conduct internal audits against the new version, and ultimately undergo a recertification audit to the 2026 version. It's still a significant undertaking, even with 3 years, particularly for larger, more complex organizations.
This raises an important question then. The source advises organizations should begin preparing now. Why is early preparation so crucial for a smooth transition and maybe for fostering that stronger quality culture we've talked about, especially given that seemingly generous 3-year window? What does preparing now actually look like in concrete terms?
Early preparation is absolutely crucial, even with 3 years, and for several really profound strategic reasons. Firstly, it simply avoids the last-minute rush and panic.
The certification crunch.
Exactly. That crunch often leads to superficial checkbox changes rather than genuine, deeply embedded improvements. A 3-year window sounds long, but implementing these kinds of systemic changes, especially those impacting leadership culture, risk strategy, climate integration, employee awareness, it takes time to embed them effectively and genuinely transform how an organization works. Rushing means you might just change documents without really changing practices.
So better quality implementation.
Much better. Secondly, starting early allows for thorough integration. Instead of just bolting on new requirements as isolated tasks, organizations can strategically weave them into their existing processes. They can identify opportunities for greater efficiency and effectiveness along the way. This proactive approach helps to genuinely strengthen the quality culture, rather than simply achieving compliance on paper.
Okay, so what does preparing now actually involve? What should people listening be thinking about doing?
Concretely, preparing now means maybe forming dedicated internal transition teams, conducting preliminary gap analyses using the DIS, don't wait for the final standard, initiating pilot projects for some of the new processes like maybe integrated risk and opportunity workshops, or trying out a climate impact assessment for a key area.
Testing the waters.
Yes. Engaging with your certification body early to understand their transition audit expectations is also wise. And perhaps most importantly, try to leverage this transition as a catalyst for broader business improvement, not just see it as a compliance burden. It allows time for gathering internal feedback, making iterative improvements, and ensuring buy-in at all levels before the deadline looms.
And are there competitive reasons to start early?
Definitely. For organizations seeking competitive advantage, being an early adopter, or at least starting the preparation early, means they can leverage the enhanced QMS to drive real business benefits sooner. For instance, being ahead of the curve in climate change considerations could unlock new market opportunities or attract environmentally conscious customers or investors.
Turning obligation into opportunity.
Precisely. It's about transforming a mandatory update into a strategic opportunity. Reinforcing resilience, driving sustainable growth, rather than just avoiding penalties or losing certification. Those who delay will likely face a scramble, potentially straining resources, compromising the quality of their implementation, and completely missing out on these deeper strategic benefits.
Well, what an enlightening deep dive that was. The ISO 9001.2026 draft update is clearly, as you said, much more than just a revision.
It really is.
It's a strategic evolution, pushing for deeper, more integrated approaches to quality, risk, opportunity, organizational culture, and even global responsibility like climate change. It challenges us all to think differently about how we ensure excellence and navigate an ever-changing world.
It's a significant step.
It feels like a powerful step towards a more resilient and responsible future for businesses worldwide.
Indeed. This truly reframes the role of quality management, doesn't it? Which I think raises an important final question for you, the listener, to consider.
Yep.
In a world demanding ever greater transparency, ethical conduct, and environmental accountability, how might embracing the spirit of these ISO 9001 updates, rather than just meticulously adhering to the letter, how might that become a true differentiator for your organization? Turning compliance into a formidable competitive advantage and perhaps a pathway to genuine, sustainable impact.
A fantastic, thought-provoking question to leave you with. Thank you so much for joining us on this essential deep dive into the future of quality management. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep seeking those vital insights into the world around us. We'll see you next time.